Are you ready for the Super Bowl? Welcome to the Low Carb Football Party Super Bowl Edition Live. Join Brian from Whitco's Carnivore and Greg from My Weight Loss Life. All right, how's everybody doing today? How you doing, Brian?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's the big game day, Super Bowl Sunday. Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
All right.
I just realized I did not say hi to everybody in the chat like I usually do at the beginning.
That's all right. It happens. That's for sure. Eric, is it Thursday already? Yeah, it's been a while since we did a Low Carb Football Party. We just thought, why not come on for Super Bowl Sunday and talk to our friends that show up every week. They did for this show, and obviously the Low Carb Lounge now. We have quite a few people that watch both, and it's nice to have everybody in here for sure. So I was just going to say, if you guys want to smash the like button, it'd be greatly appreciated. That kind of helps get it out in the algorithm. Also, if you want to go ahead and put where you're from in the comments, we always like to see that. It's always a nice thing. And then also, I just wanted to kind of mention our topic of the day is avoiding temptation at the Super Bowl party. You know, there's lots of parties going on today, and we thought it'd be good to talk about this today as well. So let's just go to the comments here. And it looks like we got a few people in here. Still, some people are still rolling in here. But so, Brian, what are you going to watch the game today at all?
Yeah. I'm not as interested as I would have been if like the Lions were in the game, but I will definitely watch the game. I'm a football fan, so whether it's college or NFL, I tend to watch games when they're on.
The Lions were this close to being in the big game.
I'm telling you, the way that first half went, I was like, oh, wow, I think they might actually get to the Super Bowl. But I was like, man, there's a lot of time left too. I really hope they don't blow this. And then they blew it. So yeah. That's tough, but hey, I'm gonna watch Super Bowl. I'm cheering for a particular team. We'll find out later.
Yeah,
a team that I think is going to win anyway. So actually, the team I think is going to win is the team I'm cheering for too, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that later. And I guess, what are your thoughts there? I'm assuming that you're going to watch the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna watch the game and take note of the commercial. I always kind of enjoy just to see what commercials are out there, to see which ones are funny. Not that I follow them that regularly, but sometimes it's a little entertaining to see what new commercials pop up. And I'm just looking forward to the game. Should be a good time. And I got my picks too, and we'll get into that a little bit later with the football talk. But I'm thinking, Brian, let's go ahead, and I think we should dive into our topic today. I says tonight's topic, but that's okay. We'll call it today. But avoiding temptation is Super Bowl party. As you know, there's a lot of parties going on Super Bowl Sunday, and that usually means a lot of food. So, as someone who's on a low carb, keto, or a carnivore diet, you got to be mindful of that. And I guess that's why we wanted to talk about this today. And Brian, I guess I want to kind of start with you on this. How would you avoid temptation at a Super Bowl party if you're going to one today?
So I think the key, like if you're gonna go to someone else's house, right, is to find out like what type of foods they're gonna have there, so that if there's something that'll work for you. And if there's not, then maybe you can bring something that you would eat, like some chicken wings or something like that, or something, right? And chicken wings, that's a good discussion because Super Bowl, that's one of the big foods, right, is chicken wings, I think, that people think of. So when you think of chicken wings, You probably don't want the ones that are breaded, right? Because that's not good for you. So you can get chicken wings, and just be careful of like some of the sweeter sauces, like your sweet and sour sauce, that kind of stuff, right? Um, and I guess also it depends. Like, let's say you're hosting a party and you want to do chicken wings. Try and go with either a restaurant that you're ordering from, if you're ordering bulk, that cooks in something good. Like, for instance, Buffalo Wild Wings cooks their chicken wings in tallow. Or if you're making your own wings, then obviously you can control that better because you know exactly how you're cooking them. Um, so those are kind of like my initial thoughts. But I know that, in the past, my wife would do some things where we'd have like chips and salsa and stuff like that. And like she'd make these cheeseburger sliders that were on like these little buns. Or I think they were called ham and cheese sliders. That's what they were. Yeah. And, I would eat the ham and cheese, but take it off the bun, not eat the bread. Right. So, do those kinds of things. And that's what I would go with. So what do you think?
I think the big thing is I'm going to kind of go back to I guess the basics for my answer on this one is eat before you go. I think anytime you can eat at home before you go to a party, I think that will help crave any, because once you get hungry, you start craving food. Then it's too easy to say, hey, I'm gonna just have some of this. Oh, what the heck. I think sometimes if you have somewhat of a fuller stomach, you're not going to be tempted by all the goodies. Maybe grab things that you shouldn't eat. I think that helps a lot. Obviously, I think a lot of what you said applies. And then, if you can always bring some purse bacon, some wallet bacon, some beef jerky that make sure there's no sugar in it. Any kind of beef sticks are good. But I definitely like the idea of eat before you go. Then you're not tempted by so much. And then the other part of eating is drinking. Okay. And I think, we can talk a little bit about that, but Brian, what's your recommendation for going to a party where there's probably alcohol and other beverages? Maybe there's some punch, there's different things. What would you recommend for drinking wise if you're going to a Super Bowl party?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So I think the first thing is, if you're going to drink something other than just plain water, make sure they eat and you're full first, like fully full, right? And the reason why I say that, like, let's say even you're talking about like some kind of a sparkling water that has some artificial flavors in them, those tend to make you crave. So if you haven't really eaten, or you're still kind of hungry or whatever, and you drink those, they're going to give you some cravings, and that's going to make you want to eat something that you shouldn't. So I'm just going to drink water today. But what I would recommend to people is start out, if you haven't ate yet at the party, start out with just regular water and then eat so that you get full. And then maybe you can switch to something like a sparkling water, or maybe a beer or two if you're going to do that or something, right? Just because you're already going to be full, and hopefully that'll keep those cravings from really getting at you and making you want to eat something that you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, I think that's sound advice, Brian. And bring what you can. That's going to be good for you to drink. And the other thing is too, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have alcohol once in a while, but you make a good choice. That's the key if you're going to do that. I know there's a lot of beers out there that have quite a few carbs in them, so you have to be really careful with that. Michelob Ultra is like 2.5 grams of carbs per beer, which isn't too bad. If you're only going to drink a couple, you're talking 5 grams of carbs, which it's not going to derail you, so to speak. Obviously liquor tends to not have carbs in it, depending on what it's mixed in. Keep that in mind, and obviously drink responsibly if you're going to drink. Don't want to do something stupid and drink too much and get yourself into trouble. or it hurt somebody else or whatever. So keep that in mind too. But obviously, if you can drink water, stay on plan, not go off the rails, you should be okay going to these Super Bowl parties. So keep that in mind. Because I do occasionally have a beer, and as you know, Friday night I went to a concert and I had a few beers. And it was really good, but I stuck to the ultra, and that really helped keep my carb count down. And the scale showed it, and my scale didn't budge. So that was a good thing. It didn't go up, and I just didn't know, how it would affect me, but it didn't go up, and that was a good thing. So, like I said, you can kind of enjoy yourself. You just, make the right choices. That's the key. So,
yeah.
I was going to say, I know that I flashed a couple comments up here, but I wanted to show this. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. How you doing, Martin? Champion Within stopped in. How you doing, Johnny? Brad saying they keep healthy snacks around. They help with cravings. Yep, makes a difference. And then, yep, Brad, Michelob Ultra. It is. I have some in the fridge. It's kind of been my go-to. Granted, I realize it's a really light beer and I like flavor, but at the same time, I got to keep track of the carbs and it's a good beer though. I mean, it's got a nice flavor too. So, all right. So Brian, I was just going to put this up there, but yeah, if anybody else has anything in the comments on how they avoid temptation at a Super Bowl party, go ahead and list those. We'd love to see them. And for those of you just joining us, if you could smash the like button, also throw in there where you're from. We like to see that. And if anybody has any questions, go ahead and throw a question up there, put a Q in front of it, and we'll try to get to it sometime here during the broadcast here. I have a feeling the hour is going to go pretty quick, and we wanted to kind of talk about our topic for the day because then we're going to talk quite a bit of football and probably do some trivia. So that should be fun. Looking forward to that. And it's all good. Let's see here. I said chicken wings in the air fryer. Yep, that's a good one. I was just telling my wife we have chicken wings in the freezer. I should probably get them out. I think I'm gonna make a smash burger today with I don't know if you've seen the TikToks or the YouTube shorts, but people cut a really thick onion and use that as the top and the bottom, and then put the burger patty in the middle. So I think I might try that. It's a low carb option. You have to be careful with onions a little bit, but the other option is to use lettuce wrap. Use some lettuce and make that be your bun if you really want like a hamburger, more of a traditional hamburger. Yeah. So I guess go ahead.
Johnny was talking about the chicken wings in the air fryer. That's how I do mine when I make them at home. I love to do them that way. I'll salt them and then put them in the air fryer, and then when they're done, I put melted butter on top of them. So good that way.
Oh yeah. Yep, should be delicious. So that reminds me, Brian, what are you eating today for Super Bowl food? I mean, I kind of told you we're going to do some smash burgers. I've been hungry for hamburgers, and I haven't had any for forever. And I told you I was getting tired of ground beef, but I'm ready to do some smash burgers and just try it and see how it goes. But what are you going to be eating?
I'm planning on having chicken wings, and I also have like a pound of ground beef taken out, so I'll make something up with that. I don't know if I'll put them into like burger patties or something, or what. Maybe do some eggs with it. I don't know. So it's just not really much different than normal for me, other than I'm having the chicken wings. I don't have chicken wings that often anymore.
Sure.
So
I was going to ask you, how are you coming on your man cave anyways? Are you watching the big game in there?
I probably will, yeah. So it's coming along okay. I'll have to do a couple pictures or video at some point again. But I've got 2 of the 3 TVs that I want to have. There's a third TV, but it doesn't actually work, so I got to get a third TV. And I've got the what are they called? The TV stands or whatever for them. The main TV, the big one, I can't remember what it is. Maybe a 65-inch, I don't know. It's up on the wall, and then right below it, there's like this fireplace TV stand thing, and it has like a fake fireplace and all that stuff. And then the 2 TVs off to the ends are on like TV stands. So that's how I got it there. And then I've got like a couch in there. I want to get like maybe a recliner or two in there as well.
Yeah.
And then I haven't done it yet, but I want to get like a bar like tabletop thing that's going to be behind the couch. And I already have like 3 or 4 bar stools that will go on that. And then there's a table in the back area where there's like the fridge and microwave and that kind of stuff. So it's coming along. I haven't done a lot of decorating yet either, though. I've got like a lot of stuff. Like I got an old Washington Redskins helmet. So when they were the Redskins, I got that I want to put out there somewhere. And I got some footballs, a couple of autographed footballs and different things like that. So there's some things that I'm going to do decorating wise that I just haven't gotten around to yet, but I want to get all of the, all the other stuff in there first.
Yeah.
Like the bar table and stuff like that before I do all of that.
It sounds like it's a work in progress and you're making a little bit of progress. So that's a good thing. So that's always kind of fun to have those projects going for sure.
Yep.
All right, Brian, last night, once we kind of threw this show together last minute for our viewers out there, and we thought, why not? Let's do a low carb football party, Super Bowl edition, and just talk a little football and a little bit of low carb, obviously. But, it's kind of fun, Brian, because I thought, you know what, I'm going to review our very first episode together, and we did football picks for the season. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to write these down, and then we can review them with everybody. Excuse me, so they can see how we did. We didn't do too bad. We hit on a few and we missed on a few, but just to review the picks for fun, our first pick was the AFC North, and Brian, you picked the Bengals to win the division. But injury played a huge role in that so just like it did for me on another team that I picked. So
yeah,
but my AFC North team pick to win the division was the Ravens. So I did pretty good on that one, I would say.
Yeah.
Turned out pretty good. The AFC East, you picked the Bills to win the division, and I picked the Jets to win. Clearly, losing Rodgers the first game of the season really affected the Jets. They turned out to have a pretty bad season. So needless to say, that hurt some of my picks. So I was going to say, who won the AFC East? Was it the Bills or was it a different team? I think it was the Bills.
It was the Bills.
Yeah, I thought so. Yep. And then next is the AFC South, and we both struck out on that one. You picked Jacksonville to win the division, and so did I. They disappointed. I think they lost. Didn't they lose their last game of the year and then were out of the playoffs, if I remember right? That was disappointing. I really thought they'd make it back, and they didn't. So, yeah, it's one of those things. And the AFC, go ahead.
Oh, so you didn't actually say who won the AFC South, right?
I'm not even. Was it Houston?
It was Houston.
Yeah.
And so I don't think anybody possibly could have predicted that, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season with a rookie quarterback. That's crazy.
Yeah. Rookie quarterback, new coach. So yeah, they ended up having a phenomenal year, and they'll probably be back next year, I'm guessing. They'll be competing with Jacksonville, but that division probably got a little better. Since Houston stepped up. So, it could change year to year, but it was interesting to see Houston do so well. The next pick we had was the AFC West, and you picked the Kansas City Chiefs to win the division, and so did I. So we had similar picks there, and I'm pretty sure they won the division on that. So that worked out in our favor. As far as wild card teams on the AFC there, you had the Ravens, the Jets, and the Browns. The Browns made it. The Ravens ended up winning the division, and obviously the Jets tanked. So, and I had the Browns, the Bengals, and I had either the Miami or the Steelers. I didn't have it wrote down or didn't say, but I know in my mind is between those two teams because I knew Miami would be tough, but both those teams ended up making the playoffs. So it's just I missed on the Bengals. So that was where the wild card ended up. So You know, we weren't too far off. Couple we missed, couple we hit. So pretty close. Let's see if there's any comments here before I go too far here. As I say, oh, Johnny's coming from Columbus, Ohio. You were just home recently too, because I know I watched that video. So you're
I
back
know
out
he's
on the
back
road.
out. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I need to finish watching the interview you did with him too. I'm like 20 minutes in and I still need to finish that up, but that's a good interview that you guys had going on. So I'm looking forward to listening to the rest of that, hopefully today. So going to the NFC North, I know you picked the Detroit Lions to win the division, which I think was a great pick. And I think watching it, you thought I was going to pick the Vikings to win the NFC North, but I did not. I picked the Detroit Lions. So we were both right on that one. They ended up winning the division, obviously doing really well. And, I think we both thought the Vikings would be better than they were. Obviously, the injury hurt them too. So they ended up, tanking kind of too. So they were still in it towards the end, but they just didn't have the gas on offense to compete once they lost Cousins. So, all right, NFC East, you picked the Eagles and I picked the Eagles. So we both did pretty good on that. That was pretty good to see. We both hit on that. The next pick was the NFC South, and you picked the Saints to win the division, and I picked the Saints to win the division. And that was not the case on the NFC South. And I'm trying to remember what team did win in the NFC South. It was not the Saints.
It was Tampa Bay,
Tampa
right?
Bay. Yep.
Yeah,
And
Tampa Bay.
Yep. And as you say that, I remember here, I said they'd be the seller.
But it's funny because going into the last week or two, there was three teams, what was it? The Saints, Tampa Bay, and Atlanta that all had a chance to win the division. So it was crazy.
Yeah.
They weren't, I think Tampa Bay was 9-8 or something like that as the division winner. So that was kind of crazy.
Baker Mayfield ended up panning out for them, and I see they're going to re-sign him. A lot of people have wrote him off, but he played pretty well this year for them, I must say. And I guess that's why I thought they wouldn't be so good, and, especially after losing Tom Brady and just trying to, recover from that. And I just didn't think they'd be that good, but they ended up making the playoffs. So the next was the NFC West, and you had the 49ers winning the division, and I had the 49ers winning the division. So we both panned out on that one. Excuse me. They both were, the 49ers were tough this year, and obviously they're still in the hunt. So definitely is neat to see that. And our wild card teams, you picked the Vikings, Washington, and Seattle. And my wild card teams were Seattle, the Cowboys, and the Vikings. So, obviously Seattle made it. The Cowboys made it, but the Vikings did not. Washington, they did not make it. The Vikings did not, and Seattle did make it. So we were pretty close on all these picks. Within a team or two pretty much on all these. But we also picked surprise teams of the year. You picked the Saints. You thought they'd be the surprise team. They were close. They almost made the playoffs. We both thought they'd win the division. And I had two surprise teams that I mentioned, the Steelers and the Seahawks. Now, both those teams did make the playoffs. The Steelers weren't really that good. They ended up coming on late, but they weren't that good. And Seattle was pretty decent. They were a pretty quality team. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then reviewing our Super Bowl picks at the beginning of the year, you picked Eagles to play the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. And I picked the 49ers versus the Jets. Clearly that didn't work out with the Jets, especially losing Rodgers the first game of the season. It just changed their whole dynamics. I don't know if they would have been there. I said it was kind of a reach when I picked it, and it was. It ended up being a reach, especially with the injury. But as far as the Super Bowl winners go, we picked preseason. You picked the Eagles, and I picked the 49ers as the winner. So that's still into play. We'll see what happens there today.
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of fun to go through those picks and I don't know if you want to reveal our picks for today's game or if we want to do the trivia first. What are you thinking there, Brian?
Let's do trivia.
Okay, let's do some trivia, guys. I know we got a few people in here, and let's get started with that. It's time for the Low Carb Football Party Super Bowl trivia. All right, we're ready for some trivia, guys. So if you want to just go ahead and put your answer in the comments to the questions, we'll kind of see how it goes. I'll probably move these along fairly fast. There's quite a few trivia questions, so be ready for those. Brian does not know the answers to these, so he can play along too. And our first question, which two teams are tied for the most Super Bowl? I won at 6 apiece. Should say Super Bowl wins at 6 apiece. Sorry about the typo, guys.
Two teams. Okay. I think I know the one. I think I know the one, but I'm not sure about the other. This can't be right, but I'm going to try it.
Go ahead and put your answer in the comments if you know. Which two teams are tied for the most Super Bowl wins at 6 apiece? And we'll go ahead and I'm not seeing any answers coming in, but we'll see how you're doing, Brian. I think you're going to do all right with this. I'll give it another second here because sometimes the broadcast is a little delayed. What two teams are tied for the most Super Bowl wins at 6 apiece? And we've got Dallas and San Francisco in there. Yep, you can't Google anything, but that's cheating. I'll go ahead and give you the answer here. New England and Pittsburgh.
Okay.
You think back to the vintage Pittsburgh Steelers when they won 4 Super Bowls with Terry Bradshaw, and then recently with Mike Tomlin. And obviously,
I was pretty sure the Steelers was one. I wasn't sure if New England had won 5 or 6. That was the thing.
Yep. So then New England obviously had a big run here the last 15 years, winning games. So our next question, this year's game between the 49ers and Chiefs is the 8th rematch in Super Bowl history. Name the only matchup to happen 3 times. Once again, this year's game between the 49ers and Chiefs is the 8th rematch in Super Bowl history. Name the only matchup to happen 3 times.
This is my initial thought, but it's probably wrong.
So Brian's saying the Steelers versus Cowboys. Once again, this year's game between the 49ers and Chiefs is the 8th rematch in Super Bowl history. Name the only matchup to happen 3 times. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. Let's see here. Champion Within is saying Steelers, Cowboys. That would be a good guess. And we'll segue into that. The answer is the Steelers versus the Cowboys.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I'm 2 for 2.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't think these were that hard. I mean, when I was looking at them, you could figure them out pretty quick if you're a football fan, I guess. Here we go. Which team has played in 4 Super Bowls but never held the lead in any of them? Which team has played in 4 Super Bowls but never held a lead in any of them?
Well, we know it's not the Lions. They haven't played in the Super Bowl. That's probably wrong, but hey, why not go with it?
So Brian, champion within, Johnny saying Cleveland, and Wick is saying Buffalo Bills, and let's see here. All righty. This one is hitting home for me. Which team has played in 4 Super Bowls but never held the lead in any of them? The answer is the Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh, wow.
I knew this one because I knew Minnesota lost 4 Super Bowls, and I was pretty sure that they never led in any of those games. So that one I got right, even though when I got the question, I guess you could say. Eric was saying the Bills. I can see where he'd say that because they were in the Super Bowl 4 times in a row. Brad, Vikings make me cry. Yeah. I don't put too much into them anymore, to be honest. I mean, I'm still watching, but I'm not that invested in them. So let's see here. All right. That brings us our next question. According to the National Retail Federation, how much will the average American spend on food, drink, apparel, and decorations for this year's Super Bowl Sunday? Now, this is the average American.
Wow, that's a tough one.
Once again, according to the National Retail Federation, how much will the average American spend on food, drink, apparel, decorations for this year's Super Bowl Sunday?
I might be thinking too much on this because I'm thinking the average American, but like, let's say if it's a party and there's multiple people there, you would divide that by so many people.
I mean, if you think about all the Super Bowl parties that people go to, they bring food, sometimes people do wear apparel, the bars, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I was kind of surprised. I mean, let's see what we got for some answers here. 350 for the champion within. Brian saying 150. Brad saying 225. Rick, he's going to spend $0, but he's not average. And then let's see here. Let's go to the answer here. According to the National Retail Federation, how much will the average American spend on food, drink, apparel, and decorations in this year's Super Bowl? The answer is $86. The latest consumer spending data from the NRF and Proper Insight and Analytics 2024 Super Bowl survey found a record 200.5 million U.S. adults plan to tune into Sunday's game. So almost 2/3 of the population.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to watch the game, but I feel like I didn't really spend anything.
Yeah.
We're not having a party or anything.
To me, that seems high, but, I suppose some people, when they do go, they go all out. So definitely, let's see. $100 per person. Yep. Too much. Yep. You were close, Rick. All right. I thought that was kind of an interesting question. I got a couple other ones too. For what reason was Super Bowl? Help me if I'm wrong. Is that like 57? No, 47, isn't it? Between the Ravens and the 49ers?
XW.
Be 47, I think, because it's been a few years ago. For what reason was Super Bowl 47 between the Ravens and the 49ers interrupted for 34 minutes during the third quarter? Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, that is 47, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Was interrupted for 34 minutes during the third quarter. Oh.
Yep, I hear you, Eric. I'm not spending any money on the Super Bowl. Brad's guessing a power outage. Brian is guessing the lights went out. Johnny's saying the lights went out. Was it a parachutist that landed on the field? No, just kidding.
So that was so could it have possibly been like a little brother to brother fight? Because remember,
injury.
Harbaugh was the head coach of the Ravens, and
that's
Harbaugh
right.
was the head coach of 49ers. They go like WWE, Royal Rumble style.
Yeah. Was there an injury that there was a delay for 34 minutes? I think we'll see what we got here, and then
I'm pretty sure I remember this one.
Yep, I think everybody did really well on this one. I'm not going to lie. There's a power outage inside the stadium, Baltimore I didn't type very well. We're leading San Francisco 28-6 when most of the lights in the Superdome went out with 13:22 left in the third quarter. Yeah, it was kind of a blowout, and then the lights went out, and then it became a closer game. I remember that much. Wasn't that long ago. For what reason did the Buffalo Bills superstar running back Thurman Thomas miss the first two plays of Super Bowl 26? What reason did Buffalo Bills superstar running back Thurman Thomas miss the first two plays of the Super Bowl 26? I remember when that happened, and I knew the answer on that one too.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
It couldn't find his helmet. Brad saying lost his helmet.
I mean, that seems logical, but it's probably not the answer. It's going to be something crazy, probably.
There's Rick's answer. June Super Bowl 1. I'll be outside listening to elevator music with my ducks. Shoelaces broke. Good guess. Eric said he's too young for that. I remember because the media was kind of covering. It's like, why is Thurman Thomas not in the game? I do remember that, and I'll get to the answer here, guys. Once again, for what reason did the Thurman Thomas miss the first two plays of the Super Bowl?
Watch it be like he had to go to the bathroom or something.
He couldn't find his helmet. The Bills were forced to play backup running back Kenneth Davis for the first two plays of the 1991 NFL MVP. Couldn't find his helmet. So, how do you lose your helmet?
I don't know.
All right, this next one ought to be this one's a fun one. This is our last trivia question already. I guess we kind of blew through them pretty fast here, but Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction during the Super Bowl halftime show in February 2004 has been credited as the inspiration for which website?
Which website?
Still
I remember the incident, but
once again, Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction during the Super Bowl halftime show in February of 2004 has been credited with the inspiration for which website?
Well, that's 20 years ago. Huh.
The champion within OnlyFans. OnlyFans hasn't been around that long. I've only had a channel for 5 years. Oh, I didn't say that out loud, did I? Just kidding. Just kidding. I don't have an OnlyFans. Nobody would pay to see me on camera. PornTube. Eric saying YouTube.
That was about the time, right? YouTube.
Brian saying TMZ.
I have no idea. I really don't.
Janet Jackson's wardrobe malfunction during the Super Bowl halftime show in February 2004 was credited as the inspiration for which website? Brian, you should know this. We're on it. YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wad Karim, frustrated with the inability to find the video of Nipplegate online, teamed up with friends Stephen Chen and Chad Hurley to create a site where people could upload their own. So YouTube is the answer. That whole incident created YouTube. Was the reason that was their why.
Well, thank you, Janet Jackson. You're the reason I am here on this live stream today.
Yep. We can thank her for being on the live stream. Exactly. Isn't that crazy? I thought that was very interesting. So I had to put it on here. I know that people were searching for that because they missed it. You know, they wanted to see what happened. What was it about?
Yeah.
So if only we'd gotten into YouTube back then, right, Brian? But I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have a little fun with people's picks today. I know our audience are out there. Obviously, we have the Kansas City Chiefs versus San Francisco 49ers. And what I want you to do is pick who you think is going to win in the comments and put your scores in there. Just want to kind of see what you're picking, and then me and Brian will reveal our picks here in a few minutes. I guess I haven't even thought about score. I don't know. I think I got an idea though. The other thing is I know who I want to win, and then there's also the gambling side of me says who I'd bet on, or who I think, who I want to win and who I think will win. So, but go ahead and put your who you're thinking is going to win in the comments. Johnny's going to pick the Chiefs 27-14. Yep, that's a good one. Brad's saying the 49ers 31-27. That's a good pick too. Maybe the Swiftie fans will win today since they going to watch the Super Bowl and tune into for Taylor Swift. Yeah, I was going to say there's Rick just commented Taylor Swift. I'm definitely not watching the game for her. That's for sure.
I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to watch the Super Bowl that don't necessarily watch or pay attention to the Super Bowl just because of her, though.
Yeah. Well, and then that brings out the conspiracy side of me into it, wondering if it's like, well, is that, their reason this is that way so they can make more money, on commercials, everything. I mean, it's just a big money deal. So, sometimes you wonder how much of it is legit and how much of it is not. So that's my conspiracy side of things, I guess. I don't even know what Taylor Swift looks or sounds like. I'd rather listen to 101 Strings. Does anybody know who the Super Bowl halftime entertainment is? I'm just curious. I don't know if I remember.
Oh, what's his name?
Is it Usher?
I think it's Usher.
Yeah, I think so. It's always about the dollars. Yep, I agree. I mean, think about how much money is gambled today. And somebody's making a lot of money on that. So, yep, Usher. Yeah, that would have been a good trivia question. How much do commercials cost this year? I wonder if prices are up or prices are down. I do know I heard was it yesterday? The ticket prices have come down for the Super Bowl. It's like $6,000 and something for the cheapest ticket now, where it was up around nine, almost 10 grand to get a ticket.
Only 6,000. I mean,
Yeah.
Chump change, right?
Yep. I turned the crap off at halftime. Yeah, I can't blame you for that. Better to gamble on duck wrestling. Odds are probably better. Well, Brian, I guess that, let's what I want to hear what you have to say about the big game today and pick your winner and what you think the score is going to be.
All right. So I think it's interesting because I don't know what to expect from San Francisco. They at times this year they've looked pretty dominant, pretty good, and then other times they haven't looked so good. I don't think they can come into this game against Kansas City and play basically horrible for the first half like they did against the Lions and then expect to come back and win the game. So they're going to have to play an entire game. The Chiefs aren't the same that they were like last year, and they just don't seem dominant, but they're so experienced that that's put them through the playoffs to back into the Super Bowl again. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs, and I'm going to say the score is going to be 24-13. The Chiefs are going to win it.
Interesting. No, so are you cheering for the Chiefs, or is that who you think is going to win?
That's who I think is going to win, and I'm also cheering for them from the sense of I'm still bitter that San Francisco came back and beat Detroit, and I don't want them to win the Super Bowl. But other than that, I probably could care less who wins the Super Bowl because I don't really like either team.
Sure.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be a close game, is what I'm predicting. I it's one of those things. I have who I think will win or who I'm cheering for, and then who I think will win, and they're two different things. I want the 49ers to win, and I predicted a 24-21 score. I know it sounds like kind of a two-sided answer, but at the same time, I think the NFL loves the Chiefs, so I could see them wanting the Chiefs to win the game. I do think it's going to be a close game, but I definitely cheering for the 49ers, and there's a couple reasons why. Obviously, I like Brock Purdy. Being an Iowa State fan, as you can see above my head here, I saw him play for 4 years, and he can handle the pressure of a big game. He won a big championship game his junior year, and I think the team finished in the top 10 or was right around the 10th that year. But they won a big power bowl game, so with him at the helm. So he's used to pressure. I think he'll do fine. He played a lot of college football. I mean, he played 4 years in college, so he's a more experienced, and that's the thing the NFL is missing on, because a lot of people talk down on Brock Purdy, but it's like the guy's played a lot of football because he played all 4 years in college. So, it's not like he's new to the offense and what he's doing. So I'm a big fan of his, and I hope that he does well. And I like George Kittle. He played for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I cheer for the Hawkeyes too. So there's a couple Iowa connections in there that are why I've kind of like the 49ers. And, I guess I just want to see them win. I picked them early in the year to win, and I'm picking them now to win. So I'm not going to change from that. Could the Chiefs win? Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's no doubt about it. I honestly, during the season, I didn't think the Chiefs were as good as they were in the past. I'm really surprised they made it this far. But for some reason they're getting it done, or they're getting help, one of the two. But we'll see what happens. Like I think Johnny's just mentioned it. Watch the officiating tonight. I think that plays a bigger role in games than people realize, especially when they micromanage the replays in slow motion. I do not like that because they can kind of cherry pick their calls and which way they want the game to go. And I don't agree with that. I think they've gotten away from the game that I loved, where, the guy makes an amazing catch, and now they look at one little frame in slow motion where the ball moves. Oh, he didn't catch it, and they call it incomplete. Stuff like that happens. I just do not like that because they're micromanaging the game in slow motion. And it's like, no, you got to look at it full speed. That's a catch. And, they, like I said, I just don't care for that part of the game. It's ruining the game if you ask me, but that's a whole nother topic to talk about. But it'll be interesting. I was going to say Eric showed $7 million for a 30-second commercial in the Super Bowl, which is just crazy. It shouldn't cost that kind of money. Could you imagine going back in time to the first Super Bowl? Brian, we could have bought tickets and sat on the 50-yard line for like, what, $50?
Probably. Oh, yeah. I will say if officiating plays a role in this game, that's going to favor the Chiefs because they seem to get the benefit of the doubt from the officiating every game.
Yeah. I don't think I set a score for the game. I wrote down 24-21. It's going to be close. And that was, like I said, I'm picking the 49ers. So it could be a little higher scoring. That's where I kind of like Brad was picking. His score was up a little bit higher. I mean, I think that's a wise choice too. It'll definitely be in the 20s, I think. So for both teams. So we'll see what happens, but it should be a great game. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope it's, a clean game, not a lot of penalties. Like you said, not bad officiating or officiating that changes the outcome of the game. I just don't like that stuff. And we'll watch for today and see how many calls are not there, or wrong. Yeah, Bud Light, I heard, is kind of they're really pushing with some former NFL players to try to win their brand back, but I think I think it's going to be a losing battle for them, but we'll see what happens there. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that, Brian? You think Bud's wasting their money?
Personally, I think anybody that has a commercial in the Super Bowl is wasting
You're
their
right.
money. But I mean, I get it. It's one of the most viewed television shows or whatever you want to say all year long. So you get a lot of exposure, but man, it just seems like that's a heck of a lot of money.
I remember when they were everybody thought $1 million was terrible for a commercial. And here, it's up to 7 million for 30 seconds.
Think about it. $1 million for a commercial is ridiculous. Not alone 7 million for 30 seconds.
That's just, I'm assuming we'll see a lot of car commercials, some alcohol commercials. You get those core ones. Usually it's a lot of car ones, like the fancy cars. Some of that, but
maybe we'll see like an Ozempic commercial.
Probably. Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if we get any of those drug commercials. So hey, everybody's doing really good, William. You'll have to catch the replay. We just kind of talked about our topic of the day, and also we reviewed our picks from the first episode that we did on the Low Carb Football Party. Then we did some trivia, and now we're just kind of giving our predictions for the game today. What's your prediction, William? Go ahead and put it in the comments. Go ahead and pick the team you think is going to win and the score. Yep, you're right, Johnny. These companies have a lot of money to throw around, and they're all trying to sell you something. And I think people have gotten away from that. It's like, no, these companies are trying to sell you something, especially the drug companies. And they want to create a problem out of nowhere because they've got the solution for you. So it's kind of funny how that works. Williams picking the Chiefs. Yeah, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be close. I really believe that. It'll be interesting to see what goes down, but it won't surprise me who wins. But like I said, I'm cheering for 49ers today. So, and Brian's got the Chiefs. So we're picking apart on the Super Bowl, Brian. We copied a lot of the same picks, but I think it would have been interesting had Detroit made the big game. Because they, remember, didn't they open the season on Thursday night with Kansas City? If I remember right.
They beat the Chiefs.
They did. So
I will say Kelsey did not play in that game, though he was hurt. But they did beat the Chiefs, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm still so can't believe it that they blew that game 2 weeks ago, I guess it was, against the 49ers. Could have been in the Super Bowl for the first time ever, but no. Yeah,
I think that going forward on fourth down was not blaming why they went for it, but they lost some momentum on that. And I think coach needs to remember that. It's like, well, you have the momentum. You don't want to lose it. And by getting stopped, and they did, and it cost them dearly because they kind of lost some momentum, and 49ers came back, and the rest is history. So,
and I think what really was the biggest momentum change was that San Francisco was already starting to get the momentum after they went for it and didn't get it, and San Francisco scored. And then Detroit got the ball back and fumbled right away at the 20-yard line. And that was just a killer.
Yeah.
At that point, when that happened and they scored again, I was like, yeah, they're going to lose.
Yep, I'm with you on that for sure. It'll be interesting. The thing is with the NFL, it moves so fast because next thing you know, I think this month right after Super Bowl here in a week or two, they do the NFL where they go to Indianapolis and they do all the times and the throwing of the college. Yeah, they're already the combine that starts up, and next thing you know, in end of April, they're doing the picks for the next season, and the season moves so fast, and next thing you know, it's fall and we're at it again. So
yeah,
and I heard. Go ahead.
I heard the draft is in Detroit this year.
Is it really?
That's what I heard.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, that's good. It'll be good for the city. Bring some dollars to town and let people have some fun. I think that's a good thing. So,
yeah.
Yeah, like Eric said, pitchers and catchers are reporting now for baseball for sure. That season's gonna be kicking up too here, and Yeah, it's going to be spring before you know it. And I need it. I got to say, I haven't watched much hockey this year. And I'm a little disappointed in myself, but I've just been so busy that I haven't had time. So hoping to watch a little bit more hockey here before we get to spring. Yep. So William's going to eat meat and rest away, walk my house hippo. Gonna walk the dog today. That's a good thing to do. So, Brian, do you follow baseball at all?
A little bit, but it's kind of hard because the Detroit Tigers are not very good.
They're missing Sparky Anderson, right?
Yeah, it's been a while since they've been good. So I do follow baseball, but there's not a whole lot to cheer about.
Yeah, I kind of once in a while I tune in. I used to watch quite a bit. I always have followed the Twins because they won the World Series a couple times when I was younger, and that's just who I followed. But I only catch a game here or there, but I don't usually. I just more or less just pay attention when they win or lose. I mean, I don't even really keep. They play. My problem with baseball is they play so many games, you just kind of lose track of how teams are doing and stuff. So
yeah.
So the Twins reported today, and it sounds like the Cubs report Wednesday. And yep, all the baseball get going down in Florida for sure, and Arizona, and all them the spring league stuff they do, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
All with their training camps, whatever they call them, spring
training.
Yeah, spring training. So, well, the show is about going to wrap up, guys. Brian, did you have any parting words? I guess one thing we could talk about is Thursday night, we have a live stream, the Low Carb Lounge. If you have not checked that out yet, we get on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week's guest is semi-retired Bob. He will be on the show. And, of course, Aaron from Brewing Better Living will be on co-hosting with me and Brian. Looking forward to that show. Should be a good one. And, yeah, is there anything else you got going on this week you wanted to mention, Brian? I know you did the interview with Johnny here, so make sure you guys check out that with the Champion Within. But what else you got going on?
Boy, I don't know. I've got a few videos that I want to work on, and I just got to find time to do it. Like the next couple of days, I'm going to be traveling and moving my son back home between Monday and Tuesday. Then Friday, I go out of town again. I'm out of town for like 4 days. So it's just going to be a matter of finding time, but I've got a few videos that I want to work on. So I don't know. It's just a busy time right now.
Yeah, understandable. I was going to say, I've got a couple shorts in the hopper that I got to finish scheduling. I've been doing a few more shorts lately. They're a little easier to do. And a lot of times I can get the message across pretty quickly. And I kind of like that. I'm going to probably do some more of those, but I'm working on, and I mentioned it at the start of the year, I'm kind of putting together like step one in the weight loss process. Basically putting some videos together in a series of videos. Like if someone were new to my channel and they want to lose weight, where do I start? And I'm going to have basically a series that they can watch to help them, lose the weight or develop a plan and kind of get them on track. Still working on that. I want to get multiple videos ready before I start releasing those, because when someone starts watching, they're going to want to keep watching so they can get on their plan right away. So it's almost like I have to produce all the videos, and I'm doing it. And, I don't want to just send out an hour video. I'd rather send out a couple, a 10 to 15 minute video and do like 5 of them just to kind of help them along on their process to get them going. So I'm kind of working on that a little bit. I've got one I've got to edit, and I have a feeling it's going to take me a little bit before I get these out, but something I'm kind of working on going forward. And obviously I'm just doing some videos, but I'm going to try and make a video, talk about this last week and the concert I went to, that type of thing. So going to be doing that too. And obviously the live. So looking forward to that.
Mm.
Yep, the NBA is long, John. Yeah, they play the playoffs usually in like June now too, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
I just can't watch the NBA anymore. I like college. It's a little more I don't know. NBA just, I don't know. It's just, might as well go to the corner and watch kids playing in the parking lot. I mean, it's just street ball, and it's just, I don't know. It doesn't interests me, I guess. College basketball I like, though. It's March Madness is coming up. That's a lot of fun.
So I haven't been to an NBA game since I was like 16. And for Christmas, my son got me tickets to a basketball game this year in Detroit, Pistons. So we're going in a couple weeks. But it's going to be interesting because they are like the worst team in the NBA. I don't know what it is about Detroit. But Detroit teams lately have not been good, except that the Lions finally won this year and the Red Wings are playing a little better this year. They might make the playoffs. But man, the Pistons, they're like 6-48 or something. It's something horrible. They are bad. This can be an interesting game.
Sounds like it. It should be.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a Timberwolves game in a while. I've been to a couple different ones, but it's been a long time. I mean, it's been over 20 years since I've been. So.
The one thing I haven't liked about the NBA is that it tends to be more one-on-one, just, shooting, whatever, not really so much team play like college.
Yeah. Too much flopping too. I get tired of that. And then there's just whining about fouls, and it's just changed. I mean, I think back to the day where everybody was pretty tough and, they gritted it out. When you think of I loved it back in the day when the Lakers had Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then you had the Chicago Bulls with Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, and even Detroit, Bill Laimbeer. They were gritty teams along with the Boston Celtics. That's when I remember the NBA as being good, I guess. That's, when it was really fun to watch, but it's just not the same anymore.
Yeah.
The Pistons are 8-44. Ouch.
Yeah, they're not very good. It's bad.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
They at one point this year they broke the record for the most consecutive losses. It was like 20 something, like 24 or 25. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, they made a new record for losses in a row.
Boy. Yeah, it happens. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap this up. But Brian, do you have any parting words for everybody? Go Chiefs, he says.
Not really. Just if you're going to a party, like we said earlier, either eat before you go or try and find good options there. And before you drink anything that might kind of trigger cravings, like beer or something, make sure that you get yourself full so you're not going to be as likely to eat bad stuff.
Yep, I think that's sound advice. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. And I know we kind of threw it together last minute, but it was a good time to get together and talk a little football, a little bit of low carb, and just kind of remind people to stay on task, not fall off the rails. And looking forward to the game. Go 49ers. That's who I'm cheering for today. Should be a good game, though, and should be a lot of fun. So anyways, we'll appreciate everybody tuning in today, and hopefully you guys tune in Thursday night and catch us at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Low Carb Lounge. That should be a good time. And as always, Brian, thank you for co-hosting and doing all that you do. I appreciate you. And thanks, Brad. We appreciate it. And I guess we will talk to you guys all later. Take care. Have a great day. Be safe out there. And thanks again for watching. See you guys.
Bye, everybody.